Here we go. Ta-da! Well, here we are. It's a good day, Sunday. My camera's not going to follow me down to where I'm going to sit. All right, let's see if it centers on me a little bit. Oh, you silly camera. I'll have to give it a small tilt. And some encouragement. Come on, Cammy Cam. It's the best I can do. I'm in a new location. And I got some things to talk about. A little bit of good news, a little bit of bad news. Most of it's bad. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. So I'll say shalom to you all and peace unto your homes. Yahuah most high be praised. Today, the Lord's Day, Sunday, August 16th. $2026. Yeah, I got my cameras all over the place doing some stuff. The sun's coming in a weird spot. I'm in a different room. And I'm trying to make the most of the situation here because it's not easy. Where do I begin? Well, I took some notes based upon the events that happened. I got them up here. And I've been up all night doing some setups. I was thinking about writing a little bit of code. I got a treat for some of you here. I know a lot of you are enthusiastic. Here it is. I know a lot of you are very enthusiastic about keeping multiple translations. I've yet to get my my hard copy of the Legacy Standard. I would like that. I would like that to go alongside the rest of my library. I wish I knew if people could actually hear me here. I'm not really happy with the setup. It's kind of haphazard. It's designed for a couple of different ways to sit. It's kind of goofy, actually. Okay, so the text I have, which is I've been enjoying. It's hard for me to read. I'd like to have some friends. It's very heavy. I noted there's about 116 changes. When people say missing verses, there's parts of them that are gone, and there's not a lot of explanation from these folks. I'll take it out of my cover, and I'm referring to the scriptures from the Institute for Scripture Research. I like this text a lot. I really do. And the good part about this is it's a straight up 2-column text only. Good hand size. And the wonderful thing about having it, I didn't even realize I've been watching her for quite some time. In my own Facebook stuff, a very old video of hers when she was young, like we all used to be. Deborah was starting, and she's turned me on to the scriptures, because she uses it in her ministry, in her teachings, and I enjoy it immensely. I wish I could get this thing to back off me a little bit, but keep me in focus. Look what this does. Oh, I'm back down here. I don't like it. I'll bring it over here. I think it's just up too high, but it's where I normally have it. All right. I could turn it off, but as soon as the finds me, it's gonna track me again. It's not designed for me to put my feet up and sit further back, kind of way up here on the bedding. Boink. But it doesn't do very good. So I don't destroy what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'll just take you to the screen. I managed to find, for those of you who are interested in the scriptures, for $2.99 on your Android, you can get eSword. And I picked that up. And on it, you can get the 2009 version of this electronically. And I've been working on a way to set it up to share and talk. Get my cam. Let me mute my microphone off the phone. You don't need that, because I'm using my phone for this side of the thing. And this is my tablet, which is hooked up for power. I think I have enough juice. But the beautiful thing is that this is a part of what I've been working on. I have this tablet right here in my hand. The tablet that you guys are looking at. Now, this is only one page. That's why I didn't scroll very far. But here we go. Right? So we have the Lord's faithless bride. Ezekiel 16:1. I was just going through Ezekiel today with this. And this is beautiful. And I'll show you why. Because the app itself, what I'm using, where are you hiding? There you are. my mouse that I'm playing with is right there. And I get to highlight this stuff with you guys. Do I? Oh, you're going to let me interact or not? I can only be on the screen. I cannot, but I can do it here. Right there. So everything that's available, the commentary, there's no commentary in this Bible, but I can pull up. Oh, it didn't want to put anything on the other side. It's very versatile with the text you can use. Where's my particular text? I only put a couple on here. So yeah, I have these so far, and the legacy standard is $20. It's $20 on this. That's quite a bit. But I was happy to pull this up and be able to get this on here for nothing. I'll get the copyright notice from ISR, and I'll put that in the window here. So I have this locked in. It's a little stand here. And I usually use Blue Letter Bible. And I can call that up as well. Because I like this one. Here's our LSB right here instantly. And I was in 2 Corinthians. This is about what we've been what we might talk about today. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter shall be confirmed. I mean, there's a lot of scripture involved with what's going wrong here. I mean, am I to think that I'm this massive heretic or something? I mean, let's get this right out in the open. Yeah, that's why I do like this. It's set up quite a bit, but lounging, the other camera doesn't do so well for me. It drops me down. So I'm not sure the gentleman's name. I don't want to say it because it might just be a word that was expressed to me. But I want to, it's odd because a man who was never my pastor, never, is now somehow a gatekeeper. I mean, I've reached the point where I genuinely don't understand what's being done, why it's being done, or how anyone involved believes it squares with Scripture. And I want to be careful from the very beginning about what this is and what this isn't. Let's see if I can shut this off. Mr. Tracky Track. Did it just take it again? It did, so it's going to track. Now it's not tracking. How sweet. But it won't stay where I want it. Yeah, this thing is crazy. Thanks, AI tracking. Looks like I have to sit up. Well, to be fair, there's a problem with the communication with the people. And there's a problem with goalposts moving. Oh, I can't stand this anymore. Let's just try to change the camera so I can sit back. Cam source Sammy. Let's drop it into here. My apologies. I went to see, I arrived late, so that's on me. I got a front wheel wobble on the stupid walker that I can't account for just yet, and I have to fix it. I'm not too pleased with it. So let's pull the scene. Cam source. My broadcast software has all new thumbnails that you can see and use. I think this is it right here. And what did I do? What just happened? I choose it. Yeah, add one existing. Good, thank you. Nice. All right, I will move it down. Come on, you. Really? Okay. Make it a little bit bigger. Put it in the window. See, that works. I can sit back, relax. Get my bearings. It's going to give me what? It's going to float. How many? I got to take care of the other camera. Get rid of you. So, as I was saying, I want to be very careful about what this is and what this isn't. Because I don't really know what's going on. I'm not trying to hurt, destroy, dismantle, disrupt. There's some things going on in my family that seem to be a bigger part of what's happening here. And I'm not trying to create some personal war. I don't understand what the situation is. I really don't. Because as I recall, I mean, I can do it here. It would be down here, Facebook. Let me pull it up on a different screen. Where are you? Where'd you go? There you are. So there's Messenger, Devin, my son. Here we go. I can call it up, but I don't really have a way to put it on the screen for you unless I put it on my phone, and I don't have my phone hooked up with the secret codes yet to share like that. So they basically told me, as I scroll through, I mean, this is a load of, it's crazy. I don't get it. So what they said is I wasn't permitted to attend or participate in the congregation's gatherings or activities. So a matter has been presented to them somehow, and they've made a decision. And I understood how it was conveyed to me. It was stated that because of the shared space, they use a shared protection model. But there's no justification in the steps that have been taken. None, not really, because Richie's not my pastor. He never was. I was never a member of that church. I never attended it. And so I'm not quite sure what they're asking me to do. The document, or whatever's written to me, which was back in March 24, 2026. I mean, I've got timeline context, which, I mean, I don't really understand it. I went to Richie's church twice in the park, 2 times, with my family. All of us, all 5 of us, because we were searching for a very close-knit body of believers. And it just so happens that one of her friends opened up this round also. She had a friend at Bethel Baptist Church that we were at there for a while, where my son Devin was baptized. I could show that baptism today. I have it on one of the scenes. So, and being a member of Lefferts for a while, and getting to become a member, we experienced a tragedy there, because my pastor, the guy who baptized me, the gentleman who baptized me, Pastor Leon Aguilera, both his wife and he was stricken ill. And he's out of commission. And they had a church planter come in and fill the role. The church changed. And it's not the same, and I can't travel to that location anymore. It's kind of far off. So we went to Bethel Baptist for a while. Ann was baptized there. But people need to understand that I was increasingly not satisfied with the modern mainstream Christian doctrines, that one church would be pre-trib, one church would be post-trib. You'd have a pastor that wouldn't be settled on creation, and he would change. He thinks it's biblical, 6-day creation. Then he says 10,000 years. And when you, so we were looking for a home, and we'd found a couple of small places. After we went to, I think, one that was in a high school auditorium that didn't work out. There was one that was called the Dead Church. That didn't work out. Where we sat in the back pew. We enjoyed what was happening. It was very small in numbers, But a woman came and sat in front of us with her daughter, and the daughter couldn't help but look at Twitter, and she was looking at muscle guys and in their speedos, and my kids and I are sitting there trying to, we're trying to take in the sermon and take in the location, and we're not comfortable, so we don't make a disturbance. We wait till it finishes. And I said something to the woman. I said, mind you, this is my first time here, but I don't feel that was appropriate. And she got very upset at the notion that I was under whose authority? Who? Like, under whose authority? I mean, I'm here under Yah's authority, under Yahusha's authority, and because she said, I'm just going to go get my husband. And okay, who's your husband? And she said it was the pastor. And then I was and I never even saw him speak. Oh, no, that's true. That's not true. I did see him speak, but it was so brief. There was 2 or 3 other gentlemen that spoke, and a lot of reading from the pews. They were talking about Simeon. And I wasn't going to get into a fight with him. My kids were upstairs doing their what they offered the children in regards to Sunday school or whatever it was. And so we left. We didn't cause a ruckus. We didn't wait to speak to the pastor. That didn't make sense, because she's basically looking at almost completely naked men showing off their bodies while the sermon's going on. Her own husband is speaking. The 2 women are looking at this, and we're new people in the church. That's enough for me to go. I'm not going to stick around. And so here comes the next one in line. And mind you, Christ found me when I was very young, 11, 12 years old. I lived next door to a place called the Freedom Farm in Bolton, Massachusetts, where I became friends with a lot of people. Some of them I'm still friends with, some of them not so much, because I have an obsessive compulsive attention deficit disorder personality that's not really under control. That through desperation and a lot of loneliness and depression, anxiety, fear, a lot of what I've wanted to accomplish in this family hasn't been able to be accomplished. Because what was built wasn't solid, it wasn't a solid foundation, and something happened that apparently I'm not allowed to discuss or not allowed to look into. And my heart's broken. After Bethel Baptist, I think we took a break for a while. There was another small church where it was just a guy in his basement. He seemed really nice. He was a musician. And sadly, he broke out fake tongues on me when I wasn't feeling well, and the next weekend we had taken off and we had zoomed in, did a Zoom call in. I knew it wasn't real. I was searching. I mean, I had already done away with, because I went through Deuteronomy and I was reading from the beginning, and I got away. I didn't want to worship Yah the way the pagans worship their gods. I didn't want to do any of those things. I started to understand things a little differently and walk away. And the more I walked away from things I felt were disobedient, I felt more knowledge was given. And I bumped into several online ministers and teachers, and I had a profound life-changing event in 2018. I got to know Kent Hovind. I got to know the guys at the Creation Museum. I got involved with Living Waters. I started to see people different. I started to see myself different. And I wanted more. But I was still searching for a church family because we had crisis on our hands. Check my frames. Yeah, we had crisis on our hands. And I was waiting for the right people to talk to about it. I needed people with immense capability of love, immense capacity for it, and understanding. Because I was not a man that was settling for standard things that the world was throwing at me. I've said it 100 times, if not 1,000. Nobody understands how precious the things that she would say inside the things she would say. Talking to me, the person she didn't get to be. I also didn't get to be the person I want for completely different reasons. But I love her. Where she pulled me from, what she gave me, was hope. For those who ask, did I love my wife the way Christ loves the church? It would be preposterous to think I didn't. I gave her everything. I took her name. I didn't want her to have to drag around my evil adopted father's name. Brian Schlecht. I never say that name. I was born Brian, given that name at birth. A ward of the state, Massachusetts, taken from my family, not allowed to be with them. And the man that hurt my mom, Roger Schlecht, I was adopted around 21 months old. He was gone before I was 28 months old. Moved out and separated by the time I was 36 months old. And a few years later, I'm traveling by myself, 6, 7, and 8, on airlines, American Airlines, Logan Airport, to Detroit. Just for a chance to see the person that it's a different story for another time. The very first person that ever cried for me was my now missing son, Vance. He's over my other shoulder here.
I was trying to set this all up for him with the hope she would come home. This would be the event. I asked her to help him when he was just a boy. She would say things to me like, "What are you, a doctor?" I said, "No, but I've seen enough of this. I live with him. I'm his dad. I'm his pa." And somehow, I never shined for her. It just never mattered. I couldn't get him the help. It's this month, 21 years ago. Oh, Fancy, where are you? Can you come home? Oh, God. So what people have to understand is that I grew up on the outside of a family that had a lot of problems. And they hurt each other a lot. They were vindictive and cruel to each other. Unkind. And they never showed up for anything more than a holiday here or there. I dare say that anybody has any more than 160 to 200 man hours together as a family, some of them more. But the family was never together. And there was crisis throughout. The first I ever heard of the words mental illness was when my dear sweet Aunt Marianne, which would have been my grandmother's sister, she was stricken with what they called schizophrenia at the time. Depression, all these things. A personality disorder of sorts. And we watched her come and go. And she was our Annie Oakley. She was our cowgirl. She was a World's Fair prize. A diamond in the rough. She'd be the one that would go on the roof with the sleigh bells. When I was practicing as a child in that family, in that holiday tradition. It was glorious. It was marvelous. When I didn't know better, I loved her. I remember she let Tina and I jump on her stomach, the same way my little Devin jumps on my tummy when he was just a wee boy. What you folks have to understand I didn't understand why she wasn't the Catholic she wanted me to believe she was. I didn't understand why she didn't repent and renounce sin and turn away from that which would cause stumbling in others. I never understood it. It was day one. She doesn't remember correctly. Claw, claw, bite. It's because of her. It started with her. Not being able to get a word in edgewise to talk to her was a problem. Let me see if I can move this other camera to get the phone off. I wasn't ready. It's the truth. I just wasn't ready to be here, to be with her. What can I say? The more she gave, the more of herself she gave to me, the more I craved. I wanted to find a way to run a business, own it, more than one, and bring her home. I was homeless when she found me. Not many people know this. Lost in the desert, in the wilderness. Having tasted, having thought I was saved, and thrown it all away. Just thrown it all away. And I prayed while I was on a job one day in Manasquan, New Jersey. And there she was. My wife. My beautiful wife. Right there. I couldn't tell her she was beautiful. Gosh, I love you, Annie. Tato, I wish I knew where you were. I wish we were together. I don't know how it happened. I found out about a church we could go at Marine Park. Another try. And my wife had a friend that works out. And it's the same thing. I have to audit this church. I have to be safe. But it's always the same thing. They come at you thinking you're some new guy off the street. So you got to play it close to your chest a little bit. You got to feel out their doctrines. See what their eschatology is. See what their soteriology is.
You find out if the leader's got a good hermeneutic. Does he exegete or does he eisegete? Is he truthful and faithful to the word? And I was tired of believing in another place that the script would get flipped on us. I'm of the mindset that if I found the perfect church, I'd probably screw it up. So I try to keep myself humble. But the second time I went to see Mr. Cancel at the park, I went twice. He was handling Romans and handling Paul and how Paul talks about the law. And he wasn't handling Paul the way Paul should be handled. And I have been a proponent and an understander of Paul since I was 14. When I was in Mexico, the Freedom Farm teen missions had come up, and Walter Muty had gone around looking for folks, and Eric Trussell was a member and on the staff down there, and Matt Cole and I signed up, and we went to Los Gaviotos, Mexico. I tried, always wrestle away from the flesh. But the biblical truth is the biblical truth. If your parents don't teach you and raise you up in the way you should go, invariably, and possibly what's on the table is becoming a liar and a thief. And that's what I became. And that's what I needed to repent of. And that's what I needed to get rid of. But there was never anything there for me. I placed everything in the wrong baskets. I put my faith in the wrong people and the wrong ideas. And then I prayed. And that woman came into my life. Some would say that those who study what I suspect could be a problem for us. Let's see if this helps me. Where's the camera? It doesn't drop down enough for me. Maybe I can use the controls from here. Yeah, it's not gonna let me control the camera because it's a different scene. Like, my phone is choking this thing. And I just lost the light. I took off the auto thing. I think the problem is that I'm zoomed in too much now. That might be it. Well, my full screen is not a problem. I'll fix it real quick while we're talking. That puts me in the right spot, so I can chill for a little bit. But I'm going to have to take a break and check in with my sons, clean my face up a little bit. So, I go to this church twice. Twice. I'm not a member of this church. And he's mishandling the law. And I get it. A lot of new pastors, I don't understand it though. See, there's people that argue and say that Paul claims that the law has been done away with. Where's the camera going? I'm not telling you to go anywhere, camera. I don't understand the camps. And it's not in my head right now. I studied it about 8 or 9 months ago. And it's always the same thing. The people that claim to understand Paul, they really don't. And they can't argue against the people that don't really understand Paul. It's hard to put my finger on it. Because he's on the nose. Regardless of what you think about the sources of Peter, who wrote those, Peter tells us that Paul is hard to understand, and he is hard to understand. Without a doubt. I'm sorry, there's just so much on my plate, and I'm not really comfortable. So I don't understand this. I'm in the park. This is our second time checking these guys out. And I don't particularly care for what he's talking about. So I go up and I say to him, I say, you can't say what you're saying about the law the way you're saying it. You can't just say it's done away with the way you're saying it. Because it's not right.
My mind's racing. I'm sorry. I've taught on this. The videos are here. It's just... This is coming to a head in a place I don't understand. And like I said, I've been up all night crying, praying, trying to get through this. I lost my best friend. I lost my son. I almost lost my other son. And I've never really even had Adrian. As precious as he is, he's not present. Oh, you. Most high. Strength and courage, Father. I want nothing more than what you would ask of me. I fear I failed you, and I ask for your forgiveness again this day. Mercy, Father. In your Son's precious name I pray, Yahushua Mashiach. Amen. So I go up to talk to Richie, Mr. Cancel, and right away his wife wants to interrupt. What's going on here? And I'm like, it didn't start that way with me. There was a Latino man, a Spanish man, who stormed up to him too and spoke first. And I was like, yeah, I'm here to talk about the same thing. And I said, you can't talk to people this way. This is not right. And it was about him saying that, oh, it's just done away with the law. And yeah, we're not under the law anymore. It's all grace and justified by faith alone. And he's handling the text the same way everybody else is. Only in the book of James does it say faith alone. And it says we're not justified. It says the opposite of what these pastors preach when they say faith alone, faith alone. It's because of the teachings that were happening. You have to be reminded of who the Nicolaitans are. Thanks be to K, reminding us on that day. That lawless doctrinal group where they just reduced it to just intellectually assenting that Christ was who he was and that's all you needed to be saved. Nothing else needed to be done. That's where we are today. It's furthest from the truth. When it touches you and you grasp it, it's a big deal. I almost don't understand it. So I kicked the dust off my shoes that day and I took my family from that church. 2 visits. Never became a member. Never intended on becoming a member. I offered my correction on the spot with another gentleman. He wasn't open to it. I met Joel Aurelius, and I met Steve, and I really don't know his last name. A couple of gentlemen that
were in this camp. And I moved my family on. I took my family out of the park that day. I never returned to be a member of that church. Had one engagement, one discussion with Joel at Richie's house during a baptism, the only other event that I attended. I wasn't well. I couldn't go to events. I couldn't go places because I'd get sick and I'd have to bring my whole family home. So I would often stay home to keep Adrian. Boy, do I regret that. I wish he could have gone too. You know, but my children had friends, school-age kids and people they knew. Richie's group, Mr. Cancel's group. I didn't keep them from the group. They made decisions later on their own about it. They made character assessments of the people involved. They made their own decisions. Some things happened along the way. But the truth is that it was another church that I had reached out to. And that last day at the house, I tried to connect with Joel. And he really didn't understand it, and he said it sounds like I'm a heretic. Because he didn't believe. He doesn't believe in what the truth says about works. Faith without works is dead. And I'm called all the time to behave with a kingdom mindset. Being thankful he would even choose me and give me a chance. Yahuah had been making himself known all of my life. And I'd been shaking a fist at him. Shaking a fist. We could check in with Richie. He's in the park now. See what he's teaching today. But I'm not interested. Not interested. Oh. And that's the extent of it. No involvement with him for years. Tragedy strikes my family. And I worry that there's so much happening that it's causing me to have a breakdown. And I'm desperately asking old friends for help. I'm asking my mom for help, which I had been reaching out to her for years. I needed advice. I didn't know what to do. This woman's my best friend, and she just disappeared. There's a story that she can't tell. She can't come to terms with. She gets upset about it. I'm going to take a break and come back to it. It's a good song to change up here. See how successful we are. Oh, choking. Choking. Computer. I still have Claude running. That's why. I'm gonna shut the. I really want to shut the Droid Cam client down. All right, folks. back, I think. Yeah. All right. I hope I'm not drowning people with any music. What are you trying to say? Oh. There we go. Well, so I can call up the communique here. And I'll bring up my notes as well. I'll return back to that document. Did not get the right button clicked in time. All right. All right, so see, this is the thing. I understand what the gentleman's position was. It's unfortunate that he takes this position. But what does that have to do with me? I mean, I'm not, because you got to go a little further here. Okay? I didn't want to attend that church. I had already moved on from Mr. Cancel. Okay? This is part of the problem. You've got mail. I mean, it's the entire problem. I had already moved on. I didn't want to attend a church that I didn't agree with what they were teaching. That makes perfect sense. I don't want my kids being taught something that's not right. So I don't know what the deal is. Doing camera. What the hell did you just do to me? So the man is never my pastor. I've never placed myself under his pastoral authority. I didn't sit there for 10 years, 15, become a member, rebel against discipline, and then try to run into another congregation to escape accountability. That never happened. So I have no idea where this is even coming from. I attend briefly. I hear teaching that I believe is wrong. I challenged a bit of that. I decided I didn't want to sit under it, and I left. That should have been the end of the matter. But somehow, years into my own spiritual journey, while I'm moving in an entirely different direction, Mr. Cancel gets inserted back into my life as though I owe him some sort of ecclesiastical debt before I can fellowship someplace else. I want someone to explain that to me biblically, because I don't see it, as I expressed myself yesterday. I've been a believer 45 years. I'm in Mexico helping build a church as a missionary. I've been through Protestant churches. I became a Catholic in connection with my marriage. I later left Catholicism because I could no longer reconcile. I couldn't reconcile that to what I was reading. Immediately after my April 2018 event, I was baptized. I saw it. This camera's weird. And as I said before, the congregation eventually changed. My pastor became ill. The leadership changed. But then we have to talk about, where is this camera going? Did it just turn on again? Yeah, stop it. Oh, you're just a retard. Okay, maybe it'll stop right there. It will. Okay. So, a couple years ago, I have a spinal injury. I fall down the same place twice. And I re-injure an old injury. And I got herniated discs that are impossible to deal with. Well, took its toll on me. Fractured marriage, the stuff that what was coming out, I wasn't ready for it. Finally got to see a doctor, and I got too much information that leads to infidelity, not mine. I'm the spouse that was infected by a choice someone made. Now, which doesn't make sense because we would have gotten checked with the babies. Young couple, not that young, wanting to make sure, we would have made sure. Gosh, Annie, where are you? I know where you are, but gosh, Annie. So sad for this family, for what's happened. And I'm basically held hostage now, somehow, in this all. I tried to get help before it got out of hand. I did. I tried to get help long before. What is this cable? And I just couldn't. My frantic pleas, my cries, turned everyone off. Because I was a victim. It's like my kids. just like my wife. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't have the means to continue on without a companion. Part of my creed has always been respect, regard, resolve, reconcile, and restore. I want to obey the commandments. I want to obey my master, my father. Only father I really have. I'm alone now. I told you before, my son Vance is the only person that has ever cried for me. And I asked him why he was crying that day. It was just about a year and a half ago. Year and 8 months ago, maybe. And he said, because he finally realized how alone I was. First time I ever saw him cry in his entire life. He's just become 19, 18, 19, 20. Fancy, you're a good boy. How you folks don't understand the alienation that took place. It's not something she can do on purpose or I can do on purpose. It just happens because the children invariably will love us and want to please us. But because they're so afraid and so injured, they needed the time we had on our hands that we could have just spent being the family instead of always needing to address every little thing with her because she didn't respect, didn't regard, and didn't resolve, and didn't reconcile, and didn't restore. I can't get anybody to understand what this is like. Because they see a different version of her. They see the version of her she wants them to see. Which was something I didn't even... I'm the same tender young guy I always was. Sucker for a pretty girl. But she said everything right. I thought I was all set. My uncle even said it to me the other day, last time I spoke with him. Thought Anne was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I told him she is. But something got in the way. I don't have problems with reconciliation, folks. I don't have problems with respect, regard, or resolve. I have problems being held accountable for things without evidence, without proof, without biblical course, being asked to just take judgments against me and being pushed away. I had to come home and tell Devin. Well, I called him right away. I had to come home and tell him. It's just as I feared. Doesn't seem to be an audience. Well, I've written the email. I've written quite a few of them, actually. Draft after draft. I was up all night. But I needed to say something. I needed to say something. So after, like I said, I wasn't able to travel anymore. I had gotten sick. This is before my spinal injury about a year and a half ago, but after I left Mr. Cancel's park thing, I just started searching online. I just started digging in and praying and hoping. Because it was truly all about her. Because it was truly all about Adrian. I'm so sorry. You guys have to see me cry all the time. Adrian's precious. He's precious, and one day he's gonna be sick and old or dying like me. And I'm gonna want him to be loved. I'm gonna want him to... And now it's all fractured. Everything I planned with her, she didn't follow through with. Every year it was the same things and the same excuses for every little thing. And now I know why she never wanted to go through the house. My wife had a different life somehow, without me even knowing it. And she'll say it's not true, but there was enough evidence that poured through where she misrepresented me all the time and everywhere. Showed she didn't understand. I didn't know who she was. We were at Metro Baptist Church. The pastor turned out to be a Calvinist, and he was the one that was wishy-washy on his creation stories. We befriended quite a few people there. And I had inadvertently caught on to okay, so for context, I was a member of an Ephesians 4 online group, discussion group, called the Full Stature Initiative. Byproduct spin-off thing that Kevin Thompson was running at Beyond the Fundamentals. And he uses his military, he uses his know-how to basically walk people out of the concept of Calvinism. And he was instrumental, because Calvinism was introduced to me through him. and I was able to spot it in a congregation and save my family from it. But there was a woman named Linda there, and Linda, she had had a communique with my wife. Oh, where have you been? I miss you so much. And my wife is basically responding with, you have no idea of the burden I'm going through. And my wife is conveying to the woman that I keep pulling my family out of churches. But my wife sat with me and made the decision that if this was a Calvinist church, we could not stay. And it got to the point where an autistic man was being mishandled because he believed in the tulip concept so much that it put the concept of the salvation he believed in at risk. It put it at risk. And the person I spoke to about it seemed like he was going to come out of Calvinism himself. A few folks did. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't disrupt the place. But, I found some things that just weren't right. Like, they purposely passed around the ESV Study Bible Standard Edition to people that graduated this pastor's course. But the Bible study leader, Massimo, he used John MacArthur's study Bible, and he didn't have notes of his own. Really, he was basically verbatim copying out and reading out of the MacArthur Bible, and we wouldn't have it in ours. So we wouldn't. And I questioned them on the Bible choices and what they're using, what they're doing. And I'm not a King James only guy. At the time, I was pretty close to one. But it was based on a lot of Chuck Missler's work and the Textus Receptus and free copies of the Apocrypha. Learning a little bit about Enoch. Somebody's got a curry going. Kind of like onions and raisins and maybe some chicken. That sauce. A madras curry. I hate this estrangement. She was only supposed to be gone. It's true, I did look for reconciliation through this church. Still, I sent her to the people she was accustomed to being with at the youth group. She couldn't be here. It was getting too scary. She wouldn't stop pushing the buttons. I begged her to stop. My kids begged her to stop. And she wouldn't stop. I never shined for her, you understand? Something was just wrong. I was treated like I was a wilted corsage. Or I was the joke bag she got at the Secret Santa.
She took my attention deficit disorder and she turned it into a justification. She didn't even know she was doing it. She wouldn't let me tell her. She started to say it was a problem that I had to have things a certain way. I have to have everything a certain way, or I can't keep track of nothing. I loved being her husband, but she didn't love me. Being me, she wanted me to be something else. And she denies it. But she said if I was so good at such and such and so, go do it yourself. I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired of being alone. Oh, my apologies. Could have muted you. So I was on my back for a very long time after the injury, sleeping on the floor, laying down on the bathroom floor, my legs over the tub, using my mom's old advice from when I was younger, when I got my back hurt before, when I was 14 or 15. Oh, mama. The things. I would have liked to have known my real parents, but I think it would have been horrible for me. I think I probably was spared. I don't know. I could never know. I was too busy being told I wasn't worth a damn by the people that adopted me. Being told that if I wanted a relationship, I had to work at it, and I didn't even know what that was. I had to do something. And then I never saw Roger again. Never saw him again. Literally. I never saw him again. Since I was 14. It was fine, but not really. Gosh darn it, Annie. Yeah, Joel. I loved her like nothing else. But she didn't see it. You have no idea. I'm going to go straight into it. Because here's what's wrong. Here's the story. And here's why it's so painful. It wasn't that she was just bringing home bath tissue versus paper towels. Or that she was bringing home wrong vitamins after taking the same vitamins together for 20 years. So what started happening was I was changing. I wanted to change the breakfast meals. I wanted to put more protein in the bodies because Devin wasn't. Devin's too skinny. Vance was. He was eating too much sugar on the side. He was eating way too much sugar. I had no idea. I was starving for calories, these guys. Father, forgive me. So, title of this story is Batch Count. So anybody that doesn't want to hear it can go away now. Because I'm so sick of this. It hurts. I told you guys my wife disappeared. No, she did. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not a qualified clinician, but I've been around it enough to know what's going on. I know what I'm seeing. And I know enough to be scared about how much I love her. Because I know the more I love her, and even if I act more Christ-like, that bothered her too. So I was cutting out carbs. And I killed the batch waffle and batch pancakes. I decided we shouldn't do it. Because they empty calories for children that sat around and didn't do anything. I'd rather have higher protein, and we try to get out a little bit. They don't need the sugary breakfast and the crash. So we'd quit waffles for a good long time. Oh, Annie, I wish pray for her, please, people. Pray. So a long enough time has come to pass where I've made a decision that we're going to try to get her to cook a smaller amount. Instead of having because we're talking about 60, 70 waffles. We'd freeze them, put them in and the kids would take them and use them and put them in the toaster oven or the toaster itself and pop them up. She makes good waffles. They freeze fine. She makes good waffles. So, Annie, please forgive me. The day in question is the day she's doing waffles. Because that's how it's been set up. She was asked. The truth of the story is hard to say because of how she responds. How she responds now to everything. The truth of the story is that Devin and I spoke together, and we had wondered if she was going to even remember to keep the batch count low, like what was discussed. The amount of waffles we were going to do. Smaller, not larger. So Devin was at my left at the door. At the hinge, just outside of it. Mom came around the corner and she's at the latch side of the door. And I said, so what's your batch count? And it was the intended purpose to call her and ask her, because Devin and I had spoken, said, let's find out if she's keeping it low. We were just checking up on her. We were going to remind her if she didn't remember, because we loved her and this was happening to her. And then she got upset with, what do you mean, which batch count? What are you talking about? And Devin and I kind of laughed and chuckled because you don't understand what the word batch and count mean together. They're both kind of an amount, and it's hard to walk through this, and Devin and I are not happy that we're here in this part of the conversation where because if you just understood what we were asking, you could have just said you don't know. I mean, you said you didn't know what we were talking about. And then you went batch, count. What's a batch? And you technically kept changing everything I was saying right there on the fly. I didn't say, what's a batch? And I didn't say, it's just you. It was getting uncomfortable. And you got mad. It was over. Moved on. No reconciliation. No resolution. And fast forward to another moment in time where Devin's in bed in this very space I'm sitting in. And you and I are on the phone. And the conversation comes up about the batch count and the waffle thing. And then you claim he wasn't there. The person I had spoken to and him and I discussed that we were going to challenge you to find out if you were keeping the batch count low. We didn't know if you had begun. I started smelling something. I thought I was asking you questions. But you went off on a tangent in the what's a batch, what's a count, how am I supposed to know what this means, blah, blah, blah. And that's where your argument of you expect people to know what you're talking about. You ask questions and you expect people to know what you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of normal. When you ask questions, you're asking questions. You're not, I mean, like, if you come around the corner on your bike and you just get off and I would maybe say, how was your bike ride? I wouldn't say, what were apples like in France? I wouldn't ask you a question that made no sense. Right? But if I did, I'd have to make clarifying statements afterwards, right? To let you know the type of question I was asking and the type of answer I was looking for. And if that sounds familiar, it's because you had definite set of contradictory positions on that. All stemming from batch count. Cascaded out of hand and became several different conversations and several different fights where you brought up several different things that were already corrected, repaired, forgiven. And I was supposed to... And what am I supposed to believe in things that are forgiven and gone and done and nobody's done them again, and now all of a sudden I'm not forgiven anymore and I'm just guilty all the time of stuff? And you're doing that because you think every word I say to you is putting you down somehow, and I can't figure out how it's happening. So the whole badge count thing must have felt awful for you. Things like not taking care of your registration or your inspection, and paying the bills. My friend Ed says, all my fault. Wasn't my fault. I'm the one that had the software. Quick and Home and Business would have helped us kept it all. And I can't believe I reviewed Ed's text with just the other day, and I can't believe he says the things he says about me. It's as if I say things to him and he changes into things I've never said. And then he never remembers what we've talked about. It's a round robin with him, going around a cul-de-sac. So I begged for help from church after church after church. I didn't get any. And it was this last church. I told you I didn't even go. I didn't attend. I asked for prayer once in a Discord group, and I was treated poorly. I asked for prayer in a phone group that my son was in. My son, who's like 19, 20 years old. I don't know there's children in this group. It's anonymous numbers. I don't know any of it. And I'm being accused of doing cowardly things and by people in this church. And that's the extent of it. Just asking for prayer and help. Because I know what's happening to my wife. I had my best friend asking me if I was doing it to her. And I took offense to the accusation, but I was pretty sure that everything I was doing it to her. Why do you think I became so desperate and frantic to get help? Because everything I was doing it to her. Got to the point where she started to get upset at normal. Or she'd start to get upset at things and tell me I was too stupid to understand a concept. And then the very next day, she's telling me I'm a bad person for utilizing the concept. Make up your mind. Am I too stupid or am I a bad person? It's not fair. I have a hyper awareness. I pay attention to details. And I analyze things super quick. And I pop in and out of answers and throw answers away and pick up new answers and juggle things around real fast to try to get to the solution to most of the problems I come across. And it exacerbates the heck out of everybody I know. And part of the systems I put in place are so I can maintain that. And then all it takes is one false move. And I lose my train of thought. I don't get the point across and I get misunderstood. And then I frantically try to rebuild whatever I might have said wrong, or I frantically try to build my case to help the person that I'm helping. I never went around wronging my wife. I never went around sitting against her, putting her down, trying to make her feel worthless, but somehow she was feeling worthless every time I tried to build her up. Every time I tried to build her up and talk about how wonderful I thought she was by encouraging her in her own capabilities, trying to help her return time to herself so she can spend it with us. That's what I sought. But I was met with people who didn't believe me. I told them straight up what was happening, and they just didn't believe me. And then they never bothered to find out if I... They never bothered. And I lost her. And I lost Vance. And I've lost Devin almost three or four times now. And he's not with us. Devin's not with us anymore. My children are psychologically damaged forever. The alienation will happen no matter what you try. I'm sorry, but my children grew up with a pathogenic parent. One that couldn't take responsibility for some of the things that she did wrong. And she needed to always deflect it away and say, oh, come on, you're making a big deal out of nothing. And when that didn't work, she had to keep going and keep going and keep going. And it got to the point where I'm just the bad guy. And I couldn't get her to change. I couldn't even withhold forgiveness in seeking repentance. I would continually forgive her over and over. To no avail. Told her I gave her a new slate every day. It hurt so. Do you have any idea? I had been 20 years in the marriage, and a man I never met said to me, Brian, I have to first make sure. Have you been loving your wife like Christ loved the church and sacrificed himself for her? And I'm like, what the? Please. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Because she's everything. Without her, I couldn't build the foundation for the boys. And it never happened. Everything I told her would go wrong went wrong. They started to see the truth for themselves, and they had nowhere to go and no one to talk to because she isolated and alienated them from everyone. Members of that church told me they had a hard time believing anything I said about my wife. The very people that I went to right away and said, please help me, I don't know what to do. And I don't even know how to explain it to you. But Vance saw it, he put it together and he called it like it was. It's every 5 years or so, it would come to a head, and she would push way too many buttons. And he cracked. And he struck her. And he felt horrible. And then he didn't know what to feel. Oh. Please, Father, mercy on this family. Please let us reconcile what can be reconciled. Please help us to restore what can be restored. These people, this man or whoever addressed me, I just asked to be put on an email list, and he said, you can't attend. We want nothing to do with you. And I don't even know where that was coming from. And then I found out. I didn't put it together at first. You see, because I don't watch Richie Cancel. I don't follow Richie Cancel. And so when the broadcast first started showing up, as soon as Devin, it was as soon as Devin started going on Facebook. Because he's got friends. Friends are a member of a church. So Facebook does that thing, and there's connections. And I'm friends with a couple of people from the church still. And with that, I see his teaching on Romans 3. And it's the same teaching. This is the God's honest truth. It's the same teaching. I can't believe he's saying the same stuff still. And then after a year and a half of this estrangement, and a year and a half of my wife being gone, and I don't know where she is, I see her stand up at this location at the end of Richie's sermon. And then my eyes are able to focus and see things just a little differently, and I recognize the Hebrew on the giant doors of the dais. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this Beth Shar Shalom? And it was weird for me. And because my wife was here, in this room, in our bed, with me, as we sat and watched Beth Shar Shalom together. And I said, let's go. There it is. But we never went. I tuned in every Saturday, sometimes later, sometimes the web broadcast. Sometimes I tune in afterwards. But I was getting sicker. I just didn't know it. So I don't know what any of this is. I really don't. I went the next week to see my wife. Reconcile with the pastor, like Beth Shar Shalom had said. I said, okay, maybe she'll be there, but maybe I can go early enough and I can say, I don't know what this is. But the people here that I wanted to do Passover, they said I couldn't come until I talked to you. And incidentally, as it went, Mrs. Aurelius, I'm here to reconcile. What if she doesn't want to reconcile? And the conversation is geared towards my wife. Instantly. And then it's just falling apart. Did I screw up so much that there's no amount of repentance I can do, and I don't know what's going on here. And now the only Messianic congregation in the area. And somehow Richie's the gatekeeper. That doesn't feel right. How is he the gatekeeper? These people are not of Messiah. They couldn't be. Not with this position. How? How could they be a Messiah? Two autonomous communities where Richie Cancel actually makes fun of lawkeepers. Hosted in the same location. So I'll send the email, of course. You know. But you have to know, I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to me submitting to discipline and to this guy. I don't even know what that means. Because he's not my pastor, never was. It's unfortunate. The position you've taken. I don't know what it has to do with me. I mean, I've dated conversations I've known for decades. Some of them for more than 40 years. From my entire walk. And I haven't changed my theology. I've just leaned in towards things that made more sense. And I didn't even know what Christmas was or why. No one can tell me why. I mean, they come up with man-made ideas. But I just don't see it anymore. You know? I had been discussing Sabbath, Torah, obedience, repentance, faith, works, Yom Kippur, the biblical feasts, Shavuot. I was looking into what Scripture actually says about anybody that wanted to follow Messiah. I took it very seriously because that's how I was affected. I was affected in the Passover story. I was affected in the story of it because I got mad at God. I got mad at Yahuah. I was like, why isn't this done? I mean, I've read the story over and over and over again. But I keep getting to that spot where I'm like, man, Pharaoh should just, and everything's all right. But he lets him have it again. And I get it. Because the Scripture talks about turning Egypt's heart. And those that were not chosen were given a chance to see Pharaoh for who he was. And see their hearts. lay them out for the Lord to strip them bare and turn them into hearts of flesh, so they could go and be a part of the kingdom, be a part of the promised land. You have any idea what my life's been like? Wishing and wanting the kind of family that didn't just show up for holidays. Holy crap. I can't take another day like this. What does it mean? Was this marriage nothing? Why does Miss Aurelius taunt me? What if she doesn't want to reconcile? What if she doesn't want to reconcile? Yeah, I know. It's what I've been afraid of for 24 years. That's why it got so scary so often. Because anytime anything happens in this marriage, my wife had this network of people, 600 people in her phone call list, 20 or 30 of friends, a good maybe 5 to 10 decent ones that she can call on. But I don't have anybody. I didn't make that happen. I didn't make that happen. I keep getting told I'm a heretic just because I don't want to eat pork. I get told I'm a heretic and I don't want to eat shellfish. And I don't want to make the temple of the Holy Spirit into a trash heap. I want to fast and I want to pray. And I want to walk in His ways. I want to learn. I want the cup. I don't know why I had to fall and hurt my back the way I did, because everything was starting to change. Now I can go to ShopRite. Now that I got the walker, now I can make it to all these places. Now I can do more things. But now is when I need the cancers cut out of my body. Now is when I need the companion. I tried to build so many things with her. She said, "You could have done anything, Brian." And I said to her, as she's telling me I don't understand what she's talking about, I said, "No, I couldn't. I couldn't do any of it without you. Not one bit of it." Which flies right in the face of what she had said to me that day. If you're so good at it, do it yourself. She claims she never said it, but she said it. It hurt me to the core. Because she said it when I was loving her. She said it when I was giving to her. I was giving to her something that I can't actually give her. I can't give her time. I could give her the ability to return time to herself. I wanted her to be able to spend more time with us as a family. That means every little thing I taught her was so she wasn't stuck doing things forever. Yes, I can help you, darling. Yes, I can do a lot of these jobs with you, alongside of you, for you. Yes, I can. But if I teach you how to do it the same way I do it, then we're out of there quick, and you can teach my kids the same thing. And we're all together. I would give anything to reconcile this marriage and reconcile this family. But I never mattered to her. I was never respected. Never regarded. And when I started really trying to get help, I found that the issue was with 1 Peter 3. Because wives are commanded to not stumble and fall like their foolish husbands if they've fallen out of the word. Why would she follow him? Into the pit, into his sin, into his foolishness. Yahuah commands the wife to stay true to him, to you, and to respect the man. That gets misunderstood by ladies today. Just basically means don't help him fall further. Don't. Don't kick a man when he's down, right? I've been with you for 25 years, Anne. And now I can still never matter to you. After all this time, I can still never matter to you after I never have. We're here because I never have mattered to you. And now I never can. Then what am I supposed to reconcile, folks? What am I supposed to reconcile? I'd love to have us all together rejoicing. Why isn't it happening? Oh, camera. Thanks, camera. You're fun. You're fun. $11:34. Might put it just about right. About 8 or 9 hours for the kids. Adrian doesn't sleep anymore. He's so worried. He comes in the room and he looks at me. He's like, what's going on with my dad? He stays up at night. Poor Devin. Stuck watching all of this unfold. And there isn't a single person, not any church, that even cares. I found this boy right here on this bed with an open knife, a Leatherman right next to his wrist. And he's thinking about taking his life. He's thinking about taking his own life. And I say this to these people at this church. the day I went, and Mrs. Arella says, I remember my suicide. What do you think of that? She deflects my son's suicide attempt. I said, doesn't anybody remember that my son Devin tried to kill himself because of this? He lost his brother. He lost his mother. His whole world fell apart. He was the one who stopped the knife. The main event that tore my family to ribbons.
How dare you?
That she denies. The denial is what made it worse. She acted like she didn't care. She drove both boys to the hospital because of it. And treated one different, and now I lost one. I gotta go. I gotta go. It's not a fun place for me to be right now.
Here we are. Welcome back. For some strange reason, we're missing. We're missing our tablet source. I think it might get killed. Right. So I'm coming back at you, folks. We're gonna have a reading. It's on my phone now. I gotta whoop the reading. Go. All right. We're gonna look at Ezekiel 34. I don't want to be on this page. Sorry. So close to that split cam. That's what happens when I'm alone. My kids are all sleeping. They're sleeping. All right. I'm reading out of the book of Ezekiel. And we're going to go to Ezekiel 34. And I am using the scriptures. First time. I mean, I could go to the LSB, probably a little bit better for me. We'll try it here. And the word of Yahuah came to me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel, prophesy and say to them, Thus said the Master Yahuah to the shepherds, Woe to the shepherds of Israel who have been feeding themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flock? You eat the fat and you put on the wool. You slaughter fatlings. You do not feed the flock. You have not strengthened the weak, nor have you healed the sick, nor bound up the broken, nor brought back the straying, nor sought what was lost. But you have ruled them with might and harshness. And they were scattered because there was no shepherd. And they became food for all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. My sheep wandered through all of the mountains and on every high hill, and my sheep scattered all over the face of the earth, and no one was seeking or searching for them. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the voice of Yahuah. As I live, declares the Master Yahuah, because my flock became a prey, and my flock became food for every beast of the field from not having a shepherd, and my shepherds did not search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and did not feed my flock. Therefore, O shepherds, hear the word of Yahuah. Thus said the Master Yahuah, I am against the shepherds, and shall require my flock at their hand, and shall make them cease feeding the sheep, and the shepherds shall feed themselves no more. And I shall deliver my flock from their mouths, and they shall no longer be food for them. For thus saith the Master Yahuah, See, I myself shall search for my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeks out his flock. On the day he is among his scattered sheep, so I shall seek out my sheep and deliver them from all the places where they were scattered in a day of cloud and thick darkness. And I shall bring them out from the peoples and gather them from the lands, and shall bring them to their own land. And I shall feed them on the mountains of Israel, in the valleys, in all the dwellings of the land. In good pasture I shall feed them, and their fold shall be on the high mountains of Israel. They shall lie there in a good fold, and feed in rich pasture on the mountains of Israel. I shall feed my flock, and make them lie down, declares the Master Yahuah. I shall seek out the lost and bring back the strayed, and I shall bind up the broken and strengthen what was sick. But the fat and the strong I shall destroy. I shall feed them with right ruling. And as for you, O my flock, thus said Master Yahuah, see, I am judging between sheep and sheep, between rams and goats. It is not enough for you to have eaten up the good pasture, and the rest of your pasture you trample with your feet, or that you should drink of the clear waters, and the rest you muddy with your feet. And as for my flock, they eat what you have trampled with your feet, and they drink what you have muddied with your feet. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahuah to them, see, I myself shall judge between fat and lean sheep, because you have pushed with flank and shoulder, and thrust at all the weak ones with your horns, and scattered them abroad. Therefore I shall save my flock, and let them no longer be a prey, and I shall judge between the sheep and sheep. And I shall raise up over them one shepherd, my servant David, and he shall feed them, and he shall feed them, and be their shepherd.
And I, Yahuah, shall be their Elohim, and my servant Dawid, a prince in their midst. Yahuah have spoken. I hope that's right. LSB seems a little bit easier for me in some of the new stuff. The new words. But I do like the text. And I shall make a covenant of peace with them, and make evil beasts cease from the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness and sleep in the forest. And I shall make them and the places all around my hill a blessing, and shall cause showers to come down in their season. Showers of blessing they are. And the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and the earth yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land. And they shall know that I am Yahuah, when I have broken the bars of their yoke, and I shall deliver them from the hand of those who enslave them. And they shall no longer be a prey for the nations, and the beasts of the earth shall not devour them. And they shall dwell safely, with no one to make them afraid. And I shall raise up for them a planting place of name, and they shall no longer be consumed by hunger in the land, nor bear the shame of the nations any more. And they shall know that I, Yahuah, their Elohim, am with them, and that they, the house of Israel, are my people, declares the Master, Yahuah. And you, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your Elohim, declares the Master, Yahuah. Ezekiel 34. Now, I'm going to go to Jeremiah. The same verses, same story. Yep, you can read this. The same story. (23:6) In his day Yehuda shall be saved, and Israel dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called. Yahuah, our righteousness. Amen. Hallelujah, praise Yah. Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Yahuah, when they shall say no more, as Yahuah lives, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim, but as Yahuah lives, who brought up and led the seed of the house of Israel out of the land of the north, and from all the lands where I had driven them, and they shall dwell on their own soil. Oh, they want me to read all of Jeremiah 23 today. My heart within me is broken. Because of the prophets, all my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man overcome by wine, because of Yahuah and because of his set-apart words. For the land is filled with adulterers, for the land mourns because of a curse. The pastures of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their might is not right. For both prophet and priest have become defiled. Even in my house I have found their evil, declares Yahuah. Therefore their way is to them like slippery ways in the dark. They are driven on, and they shall fall in them. For I bring evil on them. the year of their punishment, declares Yahuah. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Shomeron. They prophesied by Baal and led my people Israel astray. And among the prophets of Jerusalem, that's Jerusalem, I have seen a horrible matter, committing adultery and walking in falsehood. And they strengthen the hands of the evil ones, so that no one turns back from his evil. All of them are like Sedom to me, and their inhabitants like Amorah. That's Sodom and Gomorrah. Therefore said Yahuah of hosts concerning the prophets, see, I am making them eat wormwood and shall make them drink poisoned water, for defilement has gone out into all the land from the prophets of Jerusalem. Thus said Yahuah of hosts, do not listen to the words of the prophets who prophesy to you. They lead you astray. They speak a vision of their own heart, not from the mouth of Yahuah. They keep on saying to those who despise me, Yahuah has said, you shall have peace. And to all who walk according to the stubbornness of their own heart, they say, no evil comes upon you. For who has stood in the counsel of Yahuah, and has seen and heard his word? Who has listened to his word and obeyed it? See, a storm of Yahuah shall go forth in a rage, a whirling storm. It whirls on the head of the wrong. The displeasure of Yahuah shall not turn back until he has done and established the purpose of his heart. In the latter days you shall understand it. Perfect. I did not send these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them yet. They prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, then they would have let my people hear my words, and they would have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their deeds. Am I an Elohim close by, declares Yahuah, and not an Elohim afar off? If anyone is hidden in the secret place, would I not see him? Declares Yahuah. Do I not feel the heavens and the earth? Declares Yahuah. I have heard what the prophets have said who prophesy falsehood in my name, saying, I have dreamed. Still, when shall it be in the heart of the prophets of falsehood and prophets of the deceit of their own, who try to make my people forget my name by their dreams, which everyone relates to his neighbor, as their fathers forgot my name for Baal. The prophet who has a dream, let him relate the dream. And he who has my word, let him speak my word in truth. What is the chaff to the wheat? Declares Yahuah. It is not my word like a fire, declares Yahuah. And like a hammer shatters a rock. Therefore, see, I am against the prophets, declares Yahuah, who steal my words, every one from his neighbor. See, I am against the prophets, declares Yahuah, who use their tongues and say, he declares. See, I am against those who prophesy false dreams, declares Yahuah, and relate them, and lead my people astray by their falsehoods and by their reckless boasting. But I myself did not send them, nor have I commanded them, and they do not profit this people at all, declares Yahuah. And when these people or the prophet or the priest ask you, saying, what is the message of Yahuah? Then you say to them, what message? I shall forsake you, declares Yahuah. As for the prophet and the priest and the people who say, the message of Yahuah, I shall punish that man and his house. This is what each one says to his neighbor, and each one to his brother. What has Yahuah answered? And what has Yahuah spoken? But the message of Yahuah you no longer remember, For every man's message is his own word. For you have changed the words of the living Elohim, Yahuah of hosts, our Elohim. This is what you say to the prophet. What has Yahuah answered you? And what has Yahuah spoken? But since you say the message of Yahuah, therefore, thus said Yahuah, because you've said this word, the message of Yahuah, and I have sent you to you, saying, do not say the message of Yahuah. Therefore I shall utterly forget you and cast you away from my presence along with the city that I gave you and your fathers. And I shall put an everlasting reproach on you and an everlasting shame that is not forgotten. Jeremiah 23.
That's rough. I don't think I've read out loud that much ever. I think I'm passing out. Yep, that's what's happening, folks. It's time for me to take a nap. I've been up since 8 o'clock yesterday morning. This is a nice song. So with that, friends, we'll pick this up and finish with Acts 20, 17 through 32, and James 3 when I come back. Until then, hey, wakey, eggs and steaky. Thanks for watching. See you soon.